Well, now for a review of what's making the headlines in the papers this morning, Benga Ashiru will be taking us through the top headlines and stories making the front pages. Good morning, Benga.
Good morning. Something looks like a setup in the offing, but it's okay. That's a story for another day. Okay. We'll be starting from our local stories, our sister publication, The This Day, and it has Chimamanda serves legal notice over son's death. Sanwo-Olu orders probe. This looks like a shocking weekend news for many Nigerians and many lovers of the renowned author and literary icon in Nigeria, Nigeria's pride in the literary world, Chimamanda Adichie, losing her son over very controversial circumstances. She has filed a suit against what she called medical negligence. And interestingly, the Lagos State Governor Sanwo-Olu, amid that public concerns, have also ordered a probe into that issue. I know you have a background in most of this humanitarian response to issues like this, and could you shed some light on what you feel about this development? Very sad indeed, or what do you think?
I mean, it's definitely a very tragic story. It was a very sad way for us to go through the weekend, going through, you know, the various reports and updates that we've been getting from this story. And, you know, we all know that Chimamanda is somebody that we don't hear a lot about in terms of her private life. So to see this come into the public light is really meaning that this is something that is really aggrieved to her in both the loss of her son, but in how her entire case was handled. If you will allow me, I would like to read the part of the report that was put out. It says in a private message that was sent to family and friends, which was cited by This Day, Adichie narrated that we were in Lagos for Christmas. Nkanu had what we first thought was just a cold, but it soon turned into a very serious infection and he was admitted to Atlanta's hospital. He was to travel to the United States the next day, being January the 7th, accompanied by traveling doctors. A team at Johns Hopkins was waiting to receive him in Baltimore, U.S. The Hopkins team had asked for a lumbar puncture test and an MRI. Now, the Nigerian team had also decided to put in a central line used to administer IV medications in preparation for Nkanu's flight. Atlanta's hospital referred us to Eurocare Hospital, which was said to be the best place to have the procedure done. She stated further that the morning of January 6, we left Atlanta's hospital, Lagos, for Eurocare Hospital, also in Lagos, where Nkanu was carried in his father's arms. We were told we would need to be sedated to prevent him from moving during the MRI and the central line procedure. I was waiting just outside the theater. I saw people, including a medical doctor at the hospital known as Dr. M, rushing into the theater, and immediately I knew something had happened. A short time later, Dr. M came out and told me that Nkanu had been given too much propofol by the anesthesiologist and had become unresponsive and was quickly resuscitated. But suddenly, Nkanu was on a ventilator. He was intubated and placed in the ICU. The next thing I heard was that he had seizures, a cardiac arrest. All these had never happened before. Some hours later, Nkanu was gone. The mourning parent, who lamented that she would never survive the loss of her child, noted in the message that it turned out that Nkanu was never monitored after being given propofol. Now, this is so devastating, as I had stated earlier. This is not a woman who puts her private life out there, so to see this is quite devastating. And not to mention as well, just to relate the stories, this is coming on the heels of where there was the suspended NAD
Indeed.
that was meant to take place, the NAD strike that was meant to take place today.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this was a contributing factor to the suspension of that, because this is a very heavy story.
There is no way we cannot tie that, because
Absolutely.
if government institutions were to be functioning effectively and there is a prompt response, you know, at the beginning of the Tinubu's administration, he appointed a coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, and everyone thought that health was going to be a cardinal point. But now, even the budgetary allocation to health has not shown that the country, that the government is indeed serious about health services, because we're still falling far short of the Maputo Declaration on Health and also the Abuja Declaration in 2001. A lot of things, a lot of gaps have really been opened. And you talked about the administration of propofol and the other circumstances that surrounded this, transporting, because the child was referred to from a medical center, not a government institution, to another referred medical facility. And now they were to go for another level of treatment. And within this period, I think there were reports about the shortage of oxygen, and which were to be constantly monitored. So this is looking more as a case of negligence, even though this medical facility is denying that they did what they could to rescue. But again, a life has been lost needlessly, and coming from such a person is very indeed disturbing. And
I don't think this will be a case that will be swept under the rug. I'm not sure what your opinion on is, but I believe that this is not something that's going to be easily swept away. Chimamanda is somebody that so many people love globally. This is a global name, a household name. And so to see such level of negligence, I doubt that the federal government will allow this to just be swept under the rug. What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, it's quite encouraging that even though it's so tragic that we have lost the innocent boy, 21-year-old, I learned.
21 months.
21-month-old. Thank you so much. But we learned that the Lagos State governor has ordered a probe into this. But we will not like the usual delayed investigation. This is about life now, and I think the Lagos State government should show that it's indeed serious and indeed concerned about the plight, about the pains coming from this young lady, this brilliant lady. This would have caused a lot of trauma for such a creative mind to be going through this. A mother indeed. So I think that the federal government and the state government should look into this and ensure that one thing that is most instructive is that there should be an upgrade in our medical facility. Because if this is happening for someone who even has the financial wherewithal to get the best medical facility, this is not a question of she doesn't have the money, because in a couple of days I learned that she was meant to travel abroad for further medical attention on her son, and this has happened. So tragic, so painful, so disturbing. I think that the federal government should step up in health care delivery in the country, because it could be anyone else, and we don't want to see the next story on this. What we want to see is a prompt response, a concerned and sympathetic response that will turn around Nigeria's medical facility around positively.
The unfortunate thing about this story, this report, is that this is just one of many stories. There are many people who are affected, and their stories don't make the light of day. And so, because this is a household name, this is a name that everybody knows, you know, it is brought to the forefront. But so many people are riddled with the losses of loved ones due to negligence, you know, whether in private hospitals or in government ones. So, you know, looking at this incident has really just brought so much to light that there truly has to be a zero tolerance policy for these types of issues. Okay,
Yolanda, well said, brilliantly said. I'm not surprised because of your background. You know the rules of engagement when it comes to this humanitarian response, and what must have been in the gaps when this kind of lapses do occur. Now we move over to Vanguard, and it says in the central caption, why I said dogs don't understand, why I said dogs are barking. This looks like a pregnant statement, and it comes with a lot of interpretation in the political realm. It looks like someone who is cocksure and who is calling the bluff, if you ask me. But in the literary term, we know that dogs bark when there are potential dangers. But coming from the governor of Rivers State now, he said that dogs bark even when they don't understand. You know, within the context of the impeachment plot, he had called for calm. And remember, it reminds me of those days when someone would say, no tension. So I believe you have one or two things to say about this.
You know, it was quite shocking when we took the report that, you know, he had actually given this statement, and he was actually pacifically speaking. He had a very calm tone when he delivered this message, you know. And I think something we keep seeing now as a reoccurring trend is the calmness of Fubara when responding to issues. He has a very good sense of calm from what we have seen in the past. He explained that his decision to remain silent in the face of distractions was actually deliberate, and he noted that he was drawing his strength from God.
Do you think he was actually drawing his strength from God, or because this confidence seemed a new pattern in his political gesture in the public? Many people feel that his newfound alignment with the APC and with the government of President Bola Tinubu might have informed that no tension posture. What do you think?
It's really difficult to tell at this moment, and I think it's a little bit of early days. More of this year as it unfolds in preparation of the elections, we will see more come to light, I believe, and more statements should be coming out. What I did find interesting as well was the stance of Minister Nyesom Wike, who brushed aside all criticisms over his political choices. So I think we have a lot to look forward to in this year.
Yeah, Wike has also issued statements in his wrap-up tour in Rivers State, and a lot of people have also expressed concerns with his statements on Fubara, and he has said that the people of Rivers State is showing gratitude, and they will demonstrate this in 2027.
Right.
So we are saying Wike, whom we can't really say if he's a member of APC, but he is showing his full support for President Bola Tinubu. And yes, we have Governor Fubara, who is now an integral member of the APC. So how do you what do you make of this situation?
Well, I don't like to speculate, that's the truth. But I think in this sort of case, just like I said before, we have a lot to look forward to in this run-up to the elections.
Indeed. When you look at the things, the 7-point allegation, very central in this is extra budgetary expenses. We have a situation where during the emergency rule, the president signed the budget for Rivers State and was also ratified by the National Assembly. And when you look at Section 122 of the Constitution, it still gives that waiver for extra budgetary spending for the next 6 months. Do you see this as something of a legal matter or a political matter? Because some people feel that this case is somehow. How would you respond to this?
I think it actually borders on a bit of both. There's the political angle, definitely, but there's also the legal implications that are involved. One thing that I have learned about Nigerian politics, as people always repeat and say, 1 + 1 is not always equals to 2. So, I mean, you're the expert when it comes to political affairs.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm
just worried that people feel that that will create some political instability.
In what way?
In Rivers State. Because when you look at the process of impeachment provided by Section 188, in which 1/3 of the members of the House have to initiate a written petition stating clearly what the offense must have been, which must border on gross misconduct. In this case, where a grave misconduct must have been committed.
That's
and
right.
Also, within 7 days, the Speaker has to serve a notice to the governor. So whether the governor responds or not, there is another 14 days for them to decide whether this should be investigated or not.
But what is your stance on what the governor, how calm he is and how he's taking the whole situation? We've seen his stance like this before in the past. Even when the incident happened in Rivers State, last year, we still had this same type of reaction from him.
Two things, Yolanda. One is, within that provision of Section 188, his confidence might be lacking somewhere, because along the process of this impeachment involves serving this allegation to the Chief Justice, which is appointed by the governor himself. So, and you know the process of appointment, though subject to the recommendation of the National Judicial Council and the confirmation by the House of Assembly. But when you look at the fact that the principal actor here is the person who appoints the Chief Justice. So most likely the political allegiance of the Chief Justice might be difficult for the House of Assembly to get that nod.
Are you saying that the allegiance might be compromised?
This is politics we are talking about. And the second point is the fact that his newfound political alignment with the president.
APC.
So I don't know the kind of promise he might have gotten across the political corridor, but he seems very calm at this point in time. So our next will be taken from the Guardian, international newspaper, The Guardian. Iran prepares for violent clashes as protests rage. We are seeing a likely showdown between the U.S. government of Donald Trump and the people have protested over high cost of living. And there have been, most disturbing is the casualty figure and those that have, the number of detainees that has filled detention centers in Tehran. What do you have to say about this?
I mean, thank you for that very informative introduction, because you couldn't have said it better. You know, yes, it's Iran and the US, but as well, it seems to be US against the whole world at this point in time. But that's a story for another day. Right now, tensions are rising in Iran, just as you've rightly said. From the picture that is on our screen right now, which is of The Guardian, we see that, you know, there are fires, there are protesters, and the death toll is actually soaring high. Human rights groups are saying hundreds of demonstrators have been killed and thousands have been detained. Now, there's also verified footage that's showing body bags in morgues near Tehran. That, as you said as well, the protests, which actually began because of a rising inflation, have evolved into calls for an end to clerical rule. Now, the US has threatened action over the killings, while Iran's leadership insists that foreign powers are behind the unrest and warns that any strike would trigger regional retaliation. This is a very scary time right now for Iran and Iranians in that nation at this moment in time. But we're also seeing other global reactions to this. We have Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is saying that he is closely monitoring what's happening in Iran, and he is saying that everything that is happening right now, these nationwide protests, are a powerful demand for freedom. So he seems in some way to be supporting the protests that are ongoing. But, you know, I wouldn't exactly call it courage, because lives are being lost. And when lives are lost, you know, the collateral damage of all of this hopefully will not be in vain.
Okay, I think let's quickly go over some of the other stories before we wrap up.
Sure.
Now, still on Vanguard, back to our local papers. On Vanguard newspaper, we have attacks on Atiku, Okowa's convoy, Obi Makinde, others feel violence fears. We also have Nimasa commences Operation Zero Tolerance for Non-Compliance in Maritime Domain. We have Tinubu, Atiku accusing Tinubu at the top left corner of Vanguard that Tinubu broke education pact, abandoned students abroad. That's coming from the former vice president of Nigeria on the situation on education. We have other stories from our sister publications. Governors celebrate Armed Forces Remembrance Day, hail Tinubu's devotion. Also, on the top corner of the This Day publication, federal government targets 189 billion in national asset sale to plug 2026 budget funding gaps. subscription, and also subscription to T-bills top 1.5 trillion naira at first 2026 auction on massive demand. Let's quickly run what Punch is telling us this morning. We have on Punch the top left corner, Kano to train 50,000 youths in skills acquisition program. We've taken this already. Wiki ends local government tour. Assembly alleges plot to stall Fubara's impeachment. We have in the central caption, 2026 budget twist. MDAs inject 3.5 trillion naira new projects despite FG freeze. And now the race is on for 2027 elections, despite the umpire yet to blow the whistle, as we have in the right side of Punch, beg your pardon, 2027. Southeast APC governors vow to deliver region to Tinubu. So we have this massive endorsement for President Tinubu, but some other people have argued, like some people from the ADC who will be having shortly, will be having former presidential aspirants, Chief Dele Momodu, and also an ADC chieftain. They have said that the ballots will be determined by the people and not by endorsements. So when you look at this caption, 2027 Southeast APC governors vow to deliver region to Tinubu, well, we have that conflict of ideas trailing such a position. And also, INEC faces legal hits over missing 55.9 billion naira 2019 election funds. Wow. And also, federal government proposes 41 billion naira to upgrade 109 foreign missions. So that's the much we can take in this edition, in this episode of a abridged version of of the newspaper review. That's the much we can take in there. Thank you very much for joining us on this segment, and thank you very much, Yolanda, for your insights into, especially on the tragic death of the literary icon's son. Thank you for bringing your wealth of experience in that area to bear. Thank you very much indeed.